It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. It's lunchtime at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. Me and Landrum. Molly Conrad back high top Red Mountain studios of Jocks. Appreciate everybody tuning us in on this cold but really beautiful looking day as you're inside here at Social Taco looking outside.
Yeah, it's nice with the sun shining, right?
Yeah.
Just late in the afternoon. Sun finds its way behind the clouds.
Get a little chilly.
Yeah, it was the wind yesterday.
Yeah.
Wind will get you.
Kind of messed your golf game up.
It did. I'm glad I didn't play yesterday.
Well, there's a big old mess going on down in the state of Louisiana, and what a better man to try to explain all this to us than our good friend Sean Fox from 97.7 FM. You can hear him down in the boot there in Ruston, Louisiana. He joins us now on the Higginbotham hotline. All right, Sean, so 48-page lawsuit filed against the LSU's Board of Supervisors in Louisiana's 19th Judicial Court yesterday. I know you don't have a law degree, but tell us what is the very latest between Brian Kelly and the wonderful people at LSU.
Well, Brian Kelly clearly was not going to go quietly into that night, guys. And, I know, Auburn's had some disasters with coaches lately, but I just want to set for the record, things might not be going well in Louisiana, but nobody is going to top us in dysfunction. So just for the record, nobody does crazy and dysfunction like we do. That's why we celebrate Mardi Gras and drink all day and all night, because this is just kind of par for the course. At this point, I'm kind of numb to this whole Brian Kelly LSU situation. I'm ready for it to end. I think anybody associated with LSU is ready for this to end. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. It's probably going to end up in a Louisiana courtroom, which will turn into another circus among itself. But look, there's all kinds of rumor and innuendo of firing Brian Kelly for cause. I'm not going to get into it necessarily. If you want to say because the man was lazy and playing too much golf, then okay, then he and Hugh Freeze have that in common. But I mean, at this point, he had a contract. You fired him. If you got the cause, it'll come out. But at this point, man, just write the check and get it over with. I mean, this has been a cluster, you know what, from the moment they decided to let Brian Kelly go. And every time you think there's light at the end of the tunnel, something new comes down, and just can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
I know that some of these rumors, they are baseless. I'm not asking you to restate or go through the rumor mill of potential reasons why or how they could justify cause in his termination, but you just mentioned Hugh Freeze in that situation. Would what you're hearing and what LSU is alleging, is that in the same ballpark, or is it something totally different?
No, there's all kinds of things. Some of it is that. I mean, I've heard of, you want to say malpractice. I mean, that the fact that he was spending a lot of time on the golf course when he was supposed to, quote, be on the clock. I don't know what the clock means as far as a coach, because it seems like it's kind of a timeless job. But there's also other things about what Brian Kelly was doing in his personal life. Again, is that anybody's business? I don't know. And again, right now it's just baseless rumors. I did hear that when this was going down, that LSU clearly must have done their homework and had been digging on stuff for Brian Kelly for years back in case something happened to fire him with cause. But up to this point, there's been no substantial proof to that. So I'd feel like I was doing a disservice, and I know you guys aren't asking me that, to start speculating on stuff right now. It's just backroom and message board fodder. That's all it is right now. Eventually, you think if this thing goes to court, it'll play its way out, and the truth in some form or fashion will come out.
Okay, so do I understand this correctly that Woodward calls him in with the new AD, and they basically said they're going to make a change, and now LSU is saying that the athletics director did not have the power or the authority to fire Brian Kelly? I guess that's one of the areas where they're saying that, hey, listen, from a pure technical standpoint, Scott Woodward could not fire him.
The same AD who was not in the meeting when they decided to fire Brian Kelly with the governor and the Board of Regents and the LSU Board of Supervisors, and then was let go a few days later. Yeah, say it out loud. It sounds kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? Yeah, the AD you fires the coach who said, you can't fire me. I mean, at this point, I think the LSU has said a bum, 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 bum. It's your LSU theme song at this point.
Okay, so the contract details, I'm sitting here reading some of it. It says, for cause defined by NCAA violations, felony crimes, gambling, drug, alcohol offenses, or serious misconduct showing moral turpitude or disrespect for LSU's mission. So I guess based on what you just said on Landrum's previous question, that maybe they're going the angle of moral turpitude, I suppose.
You would think Hugh Freeze. I'm not necessarily he was using a burner phone to call somebody, but I mean, Brian Kelly was rumored, again, if you want to go down there, to do things that he was not morally supposed to be doing. Again, I can't substantiate any of that. And right now, I think it's probably BS, and LSU's searching for a reason to not have to pay the man his money. But, again, you Google it, message boards, there's stuff out there. Again, I don't know how true it is.
Well, I'm just sitting here asking my question. If you're going, and Pat just listed off all of these things, I'm not accusing. I'm just bringing up the question of, well, Coach O got his money.
Yeah, why not give the man his?
I mean, he's trying to pick up a pregnant woman at a gas station, for goodness sake.
Well, O had his zest for life. What can we say? And it would be in a perfect world. Look, O would still like. There are some people who still want O to be the head coach. I love O. And if you define what LSU fans would want in a head coach, and you want culture, nobody fits the culture more than Coach O. There's part of me, for grins and giggles, would love to see him come back, but this has just been a disaster and comical from the very beginning. And I think at this point, everybody's ready to turn the page and see how much is this really going to affect who the next head coach is. Because right now, while I think LSU is the best job that's out there, it's one of the best in the country, period, they're sure not acting like that and making it very desirable right now.
All right, so let's pivot and let's talk about the LSU coaching job. We've seen all the odds, and I see that Las Vegas now has Nick Saban as the odds favorite of being the next head coach at LSU. We've talked to people down there. We've talked to you. I mean, come on. Just set the record straight on this. Where's this coming from in regards to Nick Saban?
Well, again, guys, Nick Saban has confessed his love for LSU many times. He said, I regret leaving. And my favorite part was, did you know Nick Saban was in the suite the other night watching the LSU-Alabama game because he was supposed to be taking the job on Monday? It's like, oh, Nick Saban, the guy who lives in Tuscaloosa and the field's named after him, was at the LSU game against Alabama? I can't imagine why he'd be there. Clearly he's there because he's the coach in waiting at LSU. I think it's just, look, it's hard to let an ex go. It is. I mean, I get it. It was the one that got away, and she's the most glamorous person ever. I mean, you let a supermodel get away, and you're always yearning for her, and you're trying to make any excuse to bring her back, and you're trying to convince yourself, if I change, maybe they'll come. Like, it's not going to happen. Would it be the best thing that ever happened for LSU? Just from a storyline purpose, I'd cut off a pinky to let that happen. But this is not going to happen. So I'm anxious to see what plan B is. And at this point, like, to me, and I think I mentioned this before, I would love to see a Dan Lanning or a Marcus Freeman. I don't know if they're leaving their respective jobs. I think Lane Kiffin is the belle of a lot of people's eye. It'd be great because I think Lane is a rock star that's great for college football. I do think it might end up being an Eli Drinkwitz, so I think it's a really good coach at Missouri. Or, like, man, go get you a young coach who's a grinder that's, like, kind of like Jay Johnson in LSU baseball. Like, the dude has no life. He's literally obsessed with baseball, wants nothing else to do, has no other hobbies, it's just baseball. Go find a young coach who's got a lot to prove, and all he wants to do is football. That's it. I mean, but goodness gracious, guys, at this point, I'm starting to fear where this could end up, just the way this circus is going.
All right, the characteristics you just described, I thought of John Summerall. He was mentioned by Governor Landry early in the process, but do you think that Summerall is as prominent in the mix as he maybe was initially when the governor let it be known to folks that he really liked John Summerall, or do you think that has faded?
No, I mean, I keep hearing Auburn and John Summerall a lot. I'm sure you guys obviously hearing the same thing. I also hear if Kiffin is to bolt for somewhere, Summerall would be one of the prime prospects for Ole Miss. I think LSU would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't vet John Summerall. I think it's the same as it was previously last time we talked, but I think everybody right now is thinking pie in the sky. They want that big name, and I mean, I was trying to think back at this. I can't remember the last time LSU hired an assistant coach or a coach from the P5, now the G5 or the G6. I mean, I think I got to go back all the way to, like, Mike Archer who I think was an assistant coach at LSU. Like everybody else was a sitting head coach at a power school when they were hired by LSU, and I think that's just kind of the expectation.
Kind of time frame. Is it just like everybody else? You're looking at maybe sometime first week or so in December.
I would be shocked if this is before Christmas. I mean,
really?
I mean, if you're waiting for a big gun, and that big gun's going to be coaching into December. Maybe the week before Christmas, unless you hire, like I said, an Eli Drinkowitz, somebody who's not in the college football playoff, or Tulane right now or some. Well, but then again, Summerall with Tulane beating Memphis the other night with South Florida, they're still kind of in the mix for that college football playoff as well. Now, again, I think if Summerall was offered the LSU job, he still might even walk away, or maybe they'd let him coach through the playoffs. But yeah, I would be shocked if this thing happens at least a week before Christmas. I mean, I'm expecting this thing to drag out as long as possible because we don't do anything easy and simple here.
Sean Fox joining us for a few more minutes from Sports Talk 97.7 there in Ruston, Louisiana. Have we seen the very last of Nussmeier at quarterback? Did we see that officially in the other night at Bryant-Denny?
You did not. In fact, Frank Wilson came out yesterday and said they're going to split time.
What did you guys do to him?
He was crying after the game. What happened?
What have you done to him, Sean?
We've been crying all season. It's, I really, really, all jokes aside, guys, I feel terrible for the kid because in this era where he could have transferred multiple times, he didn't. He could have went pro after last year, he didn't. And it just has not worked. And a lot of it has to do with this offensive line is absolutely atrocious. And I'm not saying Joe Sloan shouldn't have been let go, but LSU's problems for the last couple of years started with that offensive line. I think Brad Davis should have been the first one to be let go. He wasn't let go at all. And Garrett, while he's got a cannon for an arm, I don't think he was healthy for most of the season. Now I think it's psychological. And look, I think him backtracking into the sack last year was a perfect description of his season. And with this offensive line and the way the season is right now, I think you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the rest of the team to give Michael Van Buren a little more run. Again, I hate it for Nussmeier, and it looks like Van Buren's going to get some more, but they're going to split reps the rest of the way.
Do you anticipate that whoever ultimately is named, are they going to keep Baker as DC, or do you think that's going to be it for him and he'll move on?
Well, I think ultimately that's going to come up to Blake Baker. And, if John Summerall leaves Tulane, I think Blake Baker is going to be a popular name for the Tulane head coaching job because that's where he coached. But I also know Blake Baker's wife played soccer at LSU. She's a Louisiana girl. They spent a lot of time in the state of Louisiana. I think there's 3 or 4 people that LSU ultimately wants to keep on staff. I think it's Blake Baker. I think it's defensive line coach Kyle Williams, Corey Raymond, of course. I think Frank Wilson, then GM Austin Thomas. I think those are all key people that whoever gets this job is going to want to retain. And, again, all of them have ties recruiting and are from, in some aspect, the state of Louisiana. And as we know, you've heard time and time again, that's important here.
You're not going to get in trouble for answering honestly.
Okay.
It's a legitimate question. Texas, no, I'm just talking about with our listeners. Texas A&M or Alabama? You've seen them both.
Yeah.
Who's
A&M.
better?
A&M, because I'll tell you why, and I like Ty Simpson a lot. I'm a little concerned of Alabama's inability to run the football on a consistent basis.
You're not saying anything that's foreign to anybody that listens to this show.
The Alabama fans nodding their heads right now.
Yeah, I love the defense. I've watched Ty Simpson a lot because he might be the quarterback for our Saints next year. So I was intrigued by what he brought to the table, but it is the inability of Alabama to run consistently was very concerning the other night. And I was actually thinking y'all might ask me a question along this line. I keep waiting for A&M to pull an A&M, and they haven't done it yet. They went into Tiger Stadium. And listen, Alabama's done this before, but outside of Alabama, I have not seen a team in a long time go into LSU and do what Texas A&M did. They're deep, they're talented, and golly, I can't believe I'm saying this. They don't have a weakness right now.
That is Sean Fox, joins us periodically here on this program, talking LSU and other things around the Southeastern Conference. Yeah. Sean, I know just like us with the Auburn situation, you guys never having a dull moment right now, talking coaching search there in Baton Rouge.
No, you're right, and I never thought I'd say this, and hell might be freezing over, but man, the Aggies have. There's just something about them since they've rubbed me the wrong way. I never thought if A&M and Alabama played, I'd say roll tide, but ugh, roll tide. I guess if that happens.
Just think about the Merry Milkmen and how they'll be prancing around.
Yeah.
They win an SEC championship.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Atlanta will never be the same.
But saying roll tide now, I'm going to have to go bathe myself in holy water. But hey, I said it. So. And by the way, that Alabama sorority show has corrupted my daughter. She brought a crimson dress. Dad is not happy.
Oh gosh, how old is she?
She's 14, and Alabama's her dream school now.
Oh no, Sean!
Goodness.
Sean,
not happy. Not happy. Yeah.
Does that mean it's not going to happen?
Thanks, reality TV. Yeah. Corrupting the youth, guys.
Hey, listen, the state of Alabama, that they welcome out-of-state tuition. So
yeah, Sean.
Yeah. Look, I just want y'all to know before it happens, there will be an exorcism performed. If that doesn't help her, then I guess we'll send her to teach.
Thank goodness you're independently wealthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's Daddy's little girl. If she wants to go to Alabama, you'll become a roll tide guy yourself.
But Daddy, I love him. Yeah.
Hey, when are we going to get some more money coming in for my buddies there at Louisiana Monroe? We need more money. $23 million athletic budget. Come on.
God love BV.
Yeah.
God's a saint. He needs a lot. We need some influx of money bad.
He's doing a lot right now.
That LSU lawsuit money around here.
No kidding.
Might help. Yeah, that's where all the money goes, unfortunately.
All right, Sean. We'll have a great show this afternoon. Always appreciate you hopping on and giving us the pulse of what's going on down in the boot.
Thanks for raising my blood pressure.
Take care.
Later,
that
guys.
is Sean Fox joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
She's 14 years old. The affinity could change, but whoa. Whoa. No, it's not only out-of-state tuition. Then sorority. Those new sorority houses,
they're not free.
Beautiful
antebellum
sorority houses that they spent millions of dollars to build. I bet that's cheap. Oh, golly.
Yeah.
It's only like $10,000 a semester, Landrum.
You know what I should have asked him? Is your daughter is she thinking about being in the communications industry? Because according to Conrad Van Order.
Oh, gosh. Don't bring that up.
It's the
that
worst,
still makes
it's
my
the worst
blood
school in the history of SEC schools.
Why does that make your blood boil?
Because I respect a lot of people that went through that program. Think a lot of them.
A lot of people graduated from there.
You besmirched them. You smeared them.
Yep.
And the thing that was bad about it, you didn't do it as an outsider. You did it as someone that went through the program.
Yeah, he's like Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
What he did.
That's exactly right.
I honestly think that would be a pretty effective recruiting pitch for a lot of high school students.
Actually, it would.
Yeah, I feel like I probably may have done them some favors, actually.
Conrad, my path would have been much different had you led with that way back when. Yeah.
There you go.
We will roll on as we continue here at Social Taco. This is Three-Man Front on Jocks. Welcome back in. This is Three-Man Front on Jocks. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk to our good friend, Dimitri Ravanos from SEC Unfiltered, about all this craziness going on in the world of college football. Don't forget, tonight at 6 o'clock, the second edition of the College Football Playoff Rankings will come out. Also want to remind you about Alabama Professional Services. AlabamaProfessional.com is the website. The phone number is 205-951-9717. Foundation repair. You know, foundation problems can affect your home's safety, appearance, and value, and it's only going to get worse over time. So if you've noticed issues with your foundation, such as floor cracks, wall cracks, bowing walls, jamming windows or door frames, or other foundation damage, you need to call Alabama Professional Services to help. They will carefully inspect your foundation to identify the source of your foundation problems, suggest the perfect repair solution accordingly. Their wide range of patented foundation and suggest the perfect repair solutions for your home. So call them today, 205-951-9717, or simply go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
A lot of your text rolling in on the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. Pat, pull out the possible tiebreakers for the SEC championship.
Okay, what they want to know. For Alabama?
Zach in Huntsville wants to know, can y'all break down some of those possible tiebreakers for the SEC championship game?
Okay, I'll try to make this as quickly as possible. Let's assume the following, that Bama beats Oklahoma on Saturday, but they lose the Iron Bowl, and the rest of the chalk holds across the SEC, and that chalk would include a Texas win at home over Texas A&M. That would put Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all with a 7-1 record. Georgia would be over Alabama in the tiebreakers because the conference opponent win percentage would be 500. Bama would be the second team in that scenario with a 7-1 mark because their conference opponent win percentage would be 484. Ole Miss would be 343. That's why they would have that. That's that one scenario. Another scenario, if Bama loses to Oklahoma but beats Auburn, the rest of the chalk holds, including the SEC Texas over Texas A&M, Bama would be 1, Georgia would be 2. So in those two scenarios I just broke down, Landrum, it would be a Bama-Georgia SEC championship game. Now, if Texas A&M wins out, then they're the number 1. And then Bama could potentially, based on if you just work backwards on those scenarios, Bama would be the number 2 seed if they were to beat Auburn, but they lose to Oklahoma.
It could get messy is what you're saying.
Yes, but I will just say this. Of all these different scenarios, if Bama beats Oklahoma on Saturday, they're a potential lock for the college football playoff. Now, certain things might happen if you lose to Auburn that you don't get into the SEC championship game. And if that's the case, Bama still has about a 97% chance of making the college football playoff with a win against Oklahoma.
Jamie texted in, and this could help shape some of that, dictate some of it. He says that he agrees with me. He thinks that A&M is going to collapse at some point. They cannot sustain what they're doing. They caught an easy break throughout the conference. Alabama by 10-plus points Saturday against Oklahoma. They're going to shock the world and find the running game. Against that Oklahoma defense, if they're able to find the running game, that bodes really, really well. And then the immediate question
So
is,
were you surprised? Were you surprised when Tyler McComas kind of mentioned Alabama? I mean, he wasn't predicting it, but he was just saying that if Bama ran for 150, I don't know, it struck me as odd when he said that. I mean, I'm sitting here looking.
I think he misspoke, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
I love Tyler, but have you done your scout?
All right, now think about this. So I'm sitting here looking at the game log for Oklahoma's rushing defense. Now, Justice Haynes, he had that long breakaway, right? How long was that touchdown?
I think it was 75 yards.
Okay. Michigan had the most rushing yards against Oklahoma all season, and it was 146. So let's just say, for argument standpoint, that Justice Haynes run was 75 yards. So do subtract 175 from 146. So you're looking at still under 100 yards rushing for Michigan. The next largest total was Texas, and they ran for 136. Ole Miss, 116. They just don't give up a lot of running. I mean, I think it's going to be – it is what it is when it comes to Alabama's running attack. I just – especially against them in Auburn, I don't see – unless they get lucky on a couple of big runs, I just don't see them running between the tackles. Do you?
No.
Okay.
Alabama hasn't ran for 150 yards in a single game this year.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen Saturday unless a couple guys fall down on the edge and, someone runs for 80 yards.
So this text reads, if Bammer misses the playoffs again, will Jock start playing Christmas 24/7? No, we're going to play best of shows from the last time that Alabama made the college football playoff. And that would be –
When was that?
And lost to Michigan 2 years ago.
It's been so long.
It's been so long.
It's been so long since we got so spoiled in this state from 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. Just went on and on and on. One of our state teams playing for a national championship. Now we can't even get them in the college football playoff.
More text rolling in. This one asking, Mitch says, I'm 49 years old, and I've never heard the phrase if chalk holds until a few weeks ago when Greg McElroy said it. Now I've heard Pat use it at least 3 times today. Where does this saying originate from? All right. Well, according to our friends at AI, in rock climbing, it refers to applying climbing chalk to handholds or footholds to absorb moisture and increase grip. It was introduced in the 50s. Some climbers may also lightly chalk holds to make them more visible, essentially marking the route. In sports betting, chalk is a slang term for the favorite team or a competitor that is expected to win. So chalk holding means the favorites hold serve, they win their games.
So that's where I went wrong in the cave. I didn't have any chalk with me.
No chalk.
And see, if I'm not mistaken, the chalk portion of the gambling comes from the very early days of gambling when you would go into these gambling houses and they literally would write the point spread up on a chalkboard using chalk. And if you didn't have to change the point spreads,
Okay.
the chalk would
Makes
remain
sense.
the way it was. That's the way I always understood where it came from, was the chalk hold because of that.
Well, I saw FSU Dave. He was a former professional tennis referee, and I was thinking clay courts, chalk. Maybe it originated with the lines. That was a good question.
Perhaps so,
Thanks
yeah.
for asking it,
Very
Mitch.
good
Now
question.
we all learned something.
Yep.
Some of us did. I'm sure there's somebody out there that said they knew it. This one reads, if Alabama can't run the ball against Oklahoma, it still wins and handles the pressures Oklahoma can get into. Why would Alabama have to worry about the lack of a running game biting them if they can handle the pressure Oklahoma can bring? They can handle any defense and win with passing if their defense continually gets better and better. It's one way to look at it.
What happens if Ty Simpson has a bad game, though?
There's another way of looking at it. What if he's having an off night?
So, and if you heard the interview with Tyler McComas in the 11 o'clock hour, he brought up something very interesting worth noting. He believes that R. Mason Thomas, who is currently 5th in the SEC in sacks with 6.5, and you remember how he took over the Auburn game when he came in the second half, how he injured his hamstring, according to Tyler, in the Tennessee game, and it has not been addressed yet, but he doubts very seriously that he's going to be able to play against Alabama. Now, they still got plenty of incredible defensive guys on their roster, but not having R. Mason Thomas available, that would be a huge benefit for Ty Simpson in Alabama.
100%. 800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the text line. I want to tell you about the Finnick beginning tomorrow afternoon all the way through Monday Night Football. You can check out the Finnick, whether it's live acoustic music. They've got that going on during the weekdays from 5:30 to 8 o'clock Fridays. You got a live band that's going to be cranking up at the Finnick at 10 o'clock. And then you have sports, all the video boards, the wall-to-wall projectors that you're going to find there at the Finnick. If you want college football, they've got it for the big games like Alabama, Oklahoma. They're going to turn up the sound. You can watch it like you were watching it in the privacy of your own sports room. They get it. They know the vibe. Also an award-winning menu you're going to find from the handhelds, the shareables, and also the fork and knife. It's the Finnick, 1630 2nd Avenue South. NFL fans, you're invited as well. They got Sunday Ticket, Red Zone, all the way through Monday Night Football. 1630 2nd Avenue South near Railroad Park.
So what's going on in the Big Ten? Apparently they are ready to kick a couple of schools out of the Big Ten. We'll tell you what's going on with that and who might be out of a conference. That's next on Three Man Front. It is 12:37 here on Jocks. Appreciate everybody stopping by and seeing us. We're here each and every Tuesday at Social Taco. So, if you've been following this story in college sports, certain conferences, they have kind of kicked the tires on some private capital investment funds, maybe kind of infusing the conferences with some money. Well, the Big Ten, they've been the one that's been really out in front on this. Now, a couple weeks ago, I remember reading a story to y'all talking about these comments from the Michigan Board of Trustees, how they were taking shots at this private investment that the Big Ten was trying to push because they're saying basically this is kind of like a payday loan. Remember, you're trying to take out a credit card to pay off some credit card debt on another credit card.
Yeah.
So the Big Ten listened to Michigan. They listened to USC, but now they are advancing on a potential $2.4 billion deal. This is a 20-year capital investment proposal. So even if Michigan and USC does not support this, the two schools will then be given a 3 to 6 month grace period to join later if they want full financial benefits. If they decline, they risk not only losing out of the capital funds, but possibly their future conference standing beyond 2036. So you just heard me right. If you don't want to be a part of this, Michigan and USC, that's fine. Not only are you not going to get money, but you potentially are going to be kicked out of the conference in 2036. Michigan, USC, we're not talking about Purdue and Nebraska. We're talking about two of the bigger brands in college sports. Now, this deal would involve the University of California Investments. It's a pension fund. Basically, the pension fund would then own 10% of the Big Ten Conference. This is the kicker. The schools, once this deal is signed, each school will immediately receive $135 million from this pension fund that you can do with whatever you want to. You want to go buy a football team? Go for it. If you want to sock it away for a rainy day, so be it. So in exchange for this $135 million per school, you would have to extend the league's grant of rights from 2036 to 2046. You would create a for-profit arm called Big Ten Enterprises. This would allow uneven revenue distribution, favoring the top programs like Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. So, in other words, the likes of Purdue would not get the same amount of money as these other schools. They're expecting a vote on November 21st. The pushback, as you remember, the Michigan trustees called the proposal a payday loan and a bailout of mismanaged funds. So we'll see what happens. But they are threatening if Michigan and USC do not want to be a part of this, then you're not going to get the money if it passes. And then second of all, you could potentially be in trouble in 2036 because we could move on.
They don't want to make – it sounds like they're not totally sure what this is going to involve, and this is a CYA for USC and for Michigan that they don't want to – I mean, I'm guessing that's what it is, right? I know that you just laid it out in some of the reluctance, but this would be maybe giving away part of future revenue streams. I don't – trying to make sense of this because everybody else has signed it, but these two schools are the ones that are –
everybody else is on board because Ohio State is pushing it. And I guess the carrot is, okay, $135 million. Like, you can have that right now. And you got all these athletic departments that's been working in the red. You've got football programs that continue, they cannot fund and be competitive with the likes of an Ohio State or Michigan.
This is more where I was going with this, and it's spelled out here. Somebody wrote a story on why the reluctance would be there for Michigan, and it says the lack of transparency. University leadership has stated that they've been shown only limited pieces of the proposal, have been pressured by the conference to act quickly. They feel the decision rests solely with the university presidents, not the board of trustees, who have fiduciary responsibilities.
Yep.
So it's a CYA. and saying, hey, you haven't spelled out everything. You haven't answered all of our questions, and now you're saying hurry up and sign this.
And Tony Petitti, he has been perfectly clear to everyone involved that we need this. We need this done. We need this signed. And Michigan and USC, they have been obviously vehemently opposed to this. So we'll see exactly what happens. But I just find it interesting how now they're threatening membership just because you're not going along with what they want.
For the Big Ten to be anointed by some as the new kings of college football and college athletics, it doesn't seem like it's going that great for them here lately.
No, it's not.
You did think that you were in lockstep with the SEC when it came to potential college football playoff formats. That seems like that loose relationship has broken up. Top to bottom, everybody in the world can see. Even people who played in your conference are comparing your conference to the ACC.
That's correct. That was Joey Galloway.
So the optics right now, who would have ever thought in football that Petitti's sitting there and going, thank God for Indiana?
Yeah, they didn't see that happening 2 years ago.
Interesting. They'll get it worked out. They'll get it figured out. If not, it'll be fun to watch what USC and Michigan do. Are we inviting them down?
Who knows? By 2036, who knows what
does
all this is going to look like?
It looks like Pangea at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, how many people are not even playing football anymore?
Oh, I laugh, but that's a
reality.
Reality,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Top of the hour, we'll talk to Dimitri Ravanos on this Veterans Day. Once again, we want to thank all of our veterans and those that gave the ultimate price for their country. We appreciate their service immensely. This is Three Man Front on Jocks.
Good to see you.
We're back live at Social Taco. Appreciate everybody tuning us in and coming by and seeing us at Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. I'm just reading Nick Kelly from AL.com, covers the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is kind of an interesting story. So Ty Simpson, as we know, he's going to be facing off against one of the top defenses, not only the best in the SEC, but one of the best in the country. So he apparently talks to his good friend Arch Manning at the University of Texas at least once a week. And so he was talking to Arch about him going up against Oklahoma's defense. I went back and I looked. Arch Manning in that game, he was 21 of 27, 166 total yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Arch Manning also had 4 carries for 34 yards. So, about 200 yards of total offense against an Oklahoma defense that gives up very little. This is what Ty Simpson said as he met with the media. He was talking about it was a good game, so I asked him a couple of questions, Simpson said, about talking to Arch Manning against Oklahoma and Texas. He also said he asked me a couple of questions about Vanderbilt and about Georgia. Quarterback etiquette, talking to one another. Hey, what did you see? What did you do here? Just about plays and fronts in general, stuff we talk about not just as friends, but quarterbacks as well.
So if Texas makes the college football playoff, we have Ty Simpson to blame.
Okay.
If you want to look at it that way. That's actually cool.
It says that they talk once a week, and they've been friends for a very long time. Per Simpson, it predates Simpson's time at the Manning Passing Academy. He said, we had to be in like middle school, according to Simpson. We worked out together a couple times. Of course, we had a ton of respect for each other just because of us being 2 of the best quarterbacks, how similar we are. We just love ball. We'll hang outside of football. He's a nut. A ton of respect for him and his family and his brother. He's a really good friend, a good friend to have.
I think it would surprise people not only with players, because a lot of the players, especially now with the transfer portal, you got guys that you still remain close with. Heck, we got a story in the offseason about a guy that played at Alabama that was still chatting with his Penn State brethren. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
But how much communication is actually going on in season? Not saying that there's anything nefarious going on where you're giving proprietary information, but and coaches too. These staffs.
Oh, yeah.
They all talk, and they'll help each other. If it would help Alabama in the standings, let's just say for Texas A&M to go down and whoever, and they called and they said, hey, let me get your thoughts on this. What about this? Or what did you guys do here, there, whatever? Those staffs are helping each other.
But let me ask you a question, though. Conrad has stated on this program
some staffs
50 million times that Arch Manning is the worst quarterback in the history of the Southeastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
No, Pat, I said he was the 15th best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference.
Oh, same thing.
You said that he was right there behind T.J. Finley.
Yes. It was very close.
Now, they were neck and neck, yeah.
But does that bother you to know that your quarterback is reaching out to Arch Manning, who you consider one of the worst quarterbacks in the conference, for advice on how to handle Oklahoma?
No, I applaud him. I think that's a great strategy to have. And like Landrum just said, I think people would be surprised at how often those kinds of things happen. And I'll be the first to say, no, Arch Manning has not lived up to the hype. He was never going to live up to the hype in the first place. He has steadily improved over the course of the season, and I think he's actually turned into a pretty solid player. So
besides Sark, Conrad, besides Sark, because we know your affinity for him.
Yeah.
What aspect of Texas's team would you like to have for Alabama?
Well, they can run the ball better than Alabama, so I'll go there.
Okay, so you're going to go there.
It's a good one.
I was just wondering.
By the way, Arch Manning is now 7th in the conference, Conrad. He's not 15th, by the way. He's 7th.
That's why I just said I gave him his credit for improving over the course of the season.
And guess who's right ahead of him?
We know it's not the shade of orange.
It's John Mateer. John Mateer is 6th. Arch Manning is 7th.
Yeah, their seasons have gone in opposite directions.
Okay.
Just in terms of their personal performance.
Okay, I was just curious whether that bothered you or not, the fact that he's reaching out to Arch Manning for advice as opposed to, working with Ryan Grubb trying to come up with the best game plan against Oklahoma.
I'm sure he's very distracted. At least he's calling Arch Manning instead of playing Fortnite or whatever at 1 a.m.
Now,
That's
why
what
would
these
you do
kids
that?
like to
Why,
do.
why would you take a shot at Auburn like that?
It was not a shot at Auburn. That was a shot at anybody, Janai Broom, that plays Fortnite on live streams the night before games.
Hey, it worked out pretty well for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. Absolutely.
That's so cool. You'll see everybody here at Social Taco. Gentleman that just made his way up here to the terrace. That's Barry Copeland. He was the voice of the Homewood Patriots when me and Cole played.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
He didn't call your number a lot, I hear.
He actually called me.
Ooh.
I made the highlight tape. I did. I was Scrappy. Who was the guy that you were comparing to Scrappy earlier? The undersized person?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I called him a spider monkey, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah, it was Eli Drinkwitz.
Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah, it was Eli Drinkwitz versus Dan Mullen. That's what it was.
That's right. You got to watch Drink, though.
Does Don know him?
Don knows everybody.
Okay.
I took it as he did know. Well, he knows him now because they shook hands.
Look at FSU Dave. He's just sick.
I asked him about the buyout, if he contributed to the buyout for Mike Norvell to be fired at FSU. And he said, no, what's the point? Who are we going to go get? You've got your next coach waiting there. He's chewing bubble gum right now with a play sheet.
It's Gus Malzahn. Hire him.
Yeah. Get 11 and walking across the quad today. He'll line them up, and he'll run a play.
Yep.
You got Gus.
A lot of misdirection.
Future's
A lot of
bright.
eye candy.
Really bright. Just sweet.
Speaking of eye candy, Dimitri Ravanos is going to join us next. Meat.
Meat. I hope he's over the type A or B or whatever flu he had.
Yeah, he had I felt like we kind of got it last week.
I know. I felt weak.
Yeah.
I felt really
good at
weak
all.
when we left.
All right, he's next. This is Three Man Front live from Social Taco on Jocks.